and put the world under the reign of Christ for the next 1,000 years. You have a chance to be in that. Why don't you seize on it? Why would you let a bashful spirit? Why would you let a timid spirit? Why would you hold back here? Why would you let that Bible lay there till dust settles on it? Why would you sit back and not yield to the Spirit when the Spirit comes down? What's the matter? What's the matter? Well, you ought to wake up and find out the devil's got you bound. He's got your mouth sealed up. And he's got your spirits so timid that you're afraid to really turn loose and let God have his way. Sometimes it's pride because of the clothes you have on, or the hairdo, or the kind of shoes you're wearing. And all of that stuff will keep you out of the way of yielding to the mighty power of God. But you know, I'd love to see not only 1953 when they were slain. The slain of the Lord was many over there in that camp meeting. I'd like to see it happen again. Instead of it, when we get up off the floor this time, we'll get up with a perfect soul. So saturated with God, we'll have that power that it takes to tell the flesh to get away and leave me alone, and rebuke the devil and come out of the world and take our stand for God. Live, die, sink or swim. Put your life into it and let the Lord use you in the great restored church to bring a witness and a testimony to this world here. And if you've got a compassion for lost humanity, if you care anything about that boy or girl that's lost in your family that you gave birth to, where is that boy? Where is that girl? Where is that husband of yours? Where is that wife? Where are those cousins? What about it? What have you done to try to save them? Where are they? Is there blood on your hand? Did you try to help them? Did you try to keep them in the church? Have you ever prayed a prayer for them since they backslid and went out of here? I'll tell you, we can lose all the compassion we ever had, even for our own sons and daughters, if we're not careful. It gets so hard-hearted and unconcerned that the spirit of evangelism will leave us. The spirit of missionary will leave us, and we'll come and sit in the church out and sing songs and such as that, and not even pray a prayer for our lost loved ones, saying nothing about other people out here that have lost people that they would like to see saved. I say we ought to wake up. I say God give us a glorious awakening here and cause us to be serious-minded, conscientious, very interested in our soul salvation and the salvation of others. Let's not let these glorious opportunities pass us by. I don't believe that God is through in Eldorado because there's too good a foundation here. There's too many years been spent here. There's too much holiness and righteousness and prayers have gone up from here. And too many people have suffered humiliation and persecution. There's too much Bible reading going on. There's too many wonderful services we've had in this town. I don't believe this town has been reaped yet. I know some towns are very small. And you won't get very many people in the church in some of these towns. But every town is not alike. You can read the Bible and see towns and cities that Jesus Christ passed by and paid no attention to. There's other cities that are very prominent. Jerusalem's mentioned more than any other city in the Bible. And it was a holy city. It's the city of the great king. Jesus said, don't swear by it. For he said, it doesn't belong to you. It's the city of my God. And God has plans for Jerusalem. And I believe God has plans for some of our towns in this day and time. Is that saying too much? And so there are some towns, when you get a town of 2,000 or 3,000 and you get about 50 or 60 saints out of there, you've just about got all you're ever going to get. And if you study the history of your assembly and see how weak it's been all along and see how many scandals have happened in it and how it's untaught and has been pastored by preachers that wasn't consecrated to God, when you get 50 or 60 or 70 saints in a town that size, you've just about reaped everything there is in that little town. And there's no more field there. You have to wait till those old ones die off and new ones come on to have anybody to preach to. And that takes a long time for a generation of people to pass off the scene. I've been here now till all of the older people, when I came here, they're all dead. God only knows how many people have passed off the scene. There's very few people that's still here that was here when I came here. Very few. Most of them are so old and gospel hardened and seared until there's no use preaching to them anymore. It's the younger generation around here. And the older ones that was back there when I first came here and you accepted the gospel, well, of course, you're still around here. And God has honored you and blessed you and kept you here as a foundation people here in this church, in this assembly. But you know the time's coming that you can fine comb Eldorado and you wouldn't find one soul here that God cares anything about. But I don't think He's through yet, because the Lord made me some promises and gave me wonderful dreams here to let me know that I wasn't wasting my time coming to Eldorado, that I wasn't wasting your money building a place here to take care of the people, that we're not wasting our time to keep a good music program going here. We're not wasting our time to have prayer meetings and pray for your lost loved ones and other people in the town. We're not wasting our time. There's still work to be done here. There's still an ingathering to come in here, because God chose Eldorado from all these towns round about here. God chose this to be His center here, to gather people from about 15 or 16 different towns right around us. I tried my best to go to Harrisburg. Here was Eldorado, only 4,000, and there was 11,000 in Harrisburg. And I thought, well, maybe we've worked Eldorado out. Maybe this is it. Maybe I ought to look around and maybe move the whole thing over to Harrisburg. I believe every one of you would have followed me if I'd have done it, because you've got faith in me that I'd have heard from the Lord. And you believe that I would have heard from the Lord. And I believe all of you would have picked up and gone with me if I'd opened up something in Harrisburg. But I'll tell you, God rebuked me for even looking around over there. I had the awfulest feelings. I had the awful feelings. My goodness, I couldn't tell you how bad I felt. And I just went on anyhow. And I'd look at that building, and I'd look at that building, and I'd wonder when they was going to turn that church loose. I looked at the Catholic Church over there when they first moved out of it and built a big new building out toward Marion there. I looked at it and prospected that possibly the Lord would let us have that building, and we'd remodel it and fix it up and open a church in Harrisburg. Then I went out to the fairground, and I went out to the skating rink they had out there, and it was a big building. I said, it will hold our people. And I tried everything I could to move to where there was more people. But you know, it isn't the fact that where there's more people, because if that was the fact, we'd have churches all over New York and Pennsylvania and California. But I'll tell you, God remembered some of these small towns around here. And you know, one time in New Haven, there's people sitting right here that'll verify that, 3/4 of the people in and around New Haven got the baptism of the Holy Ghost, didn't it, Sister Fleda? In so much that the Methodist people got the Holy Ghost, and so many of them got the Holy Ghost that they took the Methodist church over and turned it over to Brother Mears. And the crowd, you know, the crowd speaks, you know. And when the whole crowd, and so many of them got the Holy Ghost, Sister Browning, that they just turned the Methodist church over to you folks there. But of course, when the storm of tests and trials hit, when everything began to be tested and tried, and God began to set the straw on fire around there, of course the work just went as fast as it came in. And I've got the remnant of people from there here in Eldorado now. And that's the way it's happened in a lot of these towns around here. But you know, the Lord has given me a couple of promises here. And you know, we've had some wonderful advertising. We didn't put very few times, of course we could run a little ad like that in the paper, and it's free. If I had to pay for it, I wouldn't have it in there. But we don't put out any handbills, and we don't stick any big signs up around. But I'll tell you, the Lord has let us have enough entertainment here and a presentation of our songs and music and your lives in this town that has actually stood out like a big neon sign here, flashing in people's face, telling them there's a gospel assembly here. The truth is going forth. There's Christians in this town. There's Holy Ghost-filled people around here. And the Lord has let us come before the public here. And the last great advertisement that the Lord let you folks put on was when the band went down here and played for an hour or so right in the heart of town. Wasn't it right there? Locust and 4th Street comes together, and here the band here went down there. And of course, you know what that was? That was a great big whole page of advertising in the Globe Democrat. That's what it was. And it wasn't hid. As Paul so told him in one place, he said, these things wasn't done in a corner. They're not hid. But he told those judges and people over there, you know people here. You know that Jesus Christ was here. You know that there's been a great thing happen in Israel here. He said, this thing wasn't done in a corner. Well, we're not in a corner anymore now. There's been enough happen here, and enough people from this town that's just got a taste of this. If nothing else, they got a smell if they didn't get a taste. And so they've seen it. They've heard it now. And the seed has been planted out there. And I believe with all my heart, children, I believe with all my heart, we're going to reap some of that seed that's been sown. I don't believe that it's over with in Eldorado. I think this is going to be one of those strongholds that God's going to use here, like he did some of the towns over there when the Jews and the saints was run out of Jerusalem. Jesus said, flee to the mountains and get out of there and go someplace else. So